Julio Gonzalez was an American mass murderer responsible for the Happy Land fire in the Bronx, New York, in 1990. Julio Gonzalez was in prison in Cuba in the late 1970s. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison for desertion from the Cuban army. He was able to gain access to the United States by faking a criminal record as a drug dealer in 1980. This false criminal record gained him passage in the Mariel boat lift, a mass emigrations of Cubans to the United States. His boat landed in Florida, where he eventually traveled to Wisconsin and Arkansas. After these travels, he settled himself in New York, where he was sponsored by the American Council for Nationalities in Manhattan. Julio was dating a girl named Lydia Feliciano, who worked as a coat checker at Happy Land, located at 1959 Southern Boulevard in the West Farm section of the Bronx in New York City. 6 weeks before the fire, however, the pair broke up. Before that, Gonzalez had also lost his job at a lamp factory in Queens. Sometime before the night in question, Happy Land was ordered to close in November of 1988 due to building code violations that included lack of fire exits, lack of fire alarms, and no sprinkler system. A follow-up by the fire department was never documented. On the evening of March 25, 1990, Gonzalez and his ex-girlfriend got into an argument. He asked her to quit her job at Happy Land, and during their argument he was ejected by a bouncer at around 3 o'clock in the morning. Intoxicated, Gonzalez was reported to yell threats to shut this place down and that he was coming back. Lydia tried to warn others to heed his threats, fearing Gonzalez would follow through with them. Gonzalez went to an Amoco gas station and purchased $1 worth of gasoline and returned to Happy Land. He poured gasoline at the base of the staircase, which was the only access into the club, and then he ignited it. Gonzalez went home, took off his gas-soaked clothes, and fell asleep. As the flames consumed the club, panic ran rampant. Due to there only being one exit, patrons were trapped. Some that were trapped attempted to break through walls to escape the blaze. 150 firemen responded to the fire and quickly extinguished it in 5 minutes, according to reports. 87 people died in the fire, with most of the deaths resulting from asphyxiation or trampling. 19 bodies were found downstairs, and the others were found upstairs, and 6 bodies were found just feet from the front door. It was initially reported that there were 3 survivors, but that number was later increased to 6. Lydia survived along with the DJ and the club owner's wife. Gonzalez was arrested the next afternoon after police investigators interviewed Lydia when she told them about the argument they had the night before. Once advised of his rights, Gonzalez quickly admitted to arson. The Happy Land fire was the deadliest fire in New York City since the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire that occurred the same day 79 years earlier in 1911. It was also the deadliest fire in the United States since the DuPont Plaza Hotel fire in Puerto Rico in 1986. The victims and their families filed a $5 billion lawsuit against the owner, landlord, city, and building material manufacturers. The suit settled in July 1995 for only $15.8 million due to unrelated financial difficulties of the landlord. Gonzalez was charged with 174 counts of murder, 2 for each victim. On August 19, 1991, he was eventually found guilty on 87 counts of arson and 87 counts of murder. On August 19, 1991, he was eventually found guilty on 87 counts of arson and 87 counts of murder. He received the maximum sentence of 25 years to life for each count, being eligible for parole in March 2015. In memory of the victims, a memorial was erected directly across the street from the former club with the names of all 87 victims inscribed on it. The site was later renamed to the Plaza of the 87. Gonzalez was denied parole in March 2015. He later died of a heart attack while in prison on September 13, 2016. He was 61 years old. This is for informational purposes only. The people responsible and their actions should in no way be glorified. There are monsters among us. We must learn from our past and be preemptive. Regardless of motive, violence should always be a last resort as a method for inducing or provoking social change. Actions that lead to the taking of lives of innocent people are simply not justified.